How you doing? My name is Christopher Brown, and you're now listening to my podcast, Sports Talk with Chris, and this is episode 38. Game 2 of the playoffs is now over. Some teams redeem themselves. Some teams' chances of advancing keep dwindling away, having bad performances. Let's take a look. The Utah Jazz versus the Denver Nuggets. The Jazz won 124-105, led by Donovan Mitchell, 30 points, 8 assists. You also had Clarkson chipping in 26 off the bench. Denver, Michael Porter Jr. had a great game, 28 points. Jokic, a great game, 28, 11, and 6. Murray had 14. You look at the game, right? The Utah Jazz, they were 20 for 44 from the three-point line, 45%. I mean, everybody was hitting threes. Clarkson, 4 for 9. Mitchell, 6 for 7. Ingles, 4 for 9. O'Neal, their small forward, 3 for 4. Morgan, the guy starting because Mike Conley has not returned to play. He went 1 for 3. 20 for 44 from the three-point line. When you shoot like that, it's almost hard to lose. But for the Utah Jazz, the biggest question for them is, can they get consistency out of their role players? You know, Clarkson had 26. Can you keep that up? Not that he has to do this every night, but since Mike Conley isn't there, he does have to step up. But when Mike Conley, if he returns to game 3, or if not game 4, if Mike Conley's not on the court, somebody else has to pick up that scoring. Jordan Clarkson is that guy. They're already missing Bogdanovic, who's giving them 20 points and 3 3-pointers a night. So Clarkson is one of them guys that's a proven scorer in this league that has to give him at least 15 to 20 a night. Him, 26 points, that's wonderful. Joe Ingles, he has to be doing this on a consistent basis. Like I said, Bogdanovic isn't there. Who knows when Mike Conley is returning? They're hoping he can return from game 3. But if he doesn't, if it's game 4, Joe Ingles has to have a performance like this. 18 points, 6 assists, 7 for 12 from the field, 4 for 9 from the three-point line. Their role players have to step up. Their role players have to be consistent. The Jazz only have 4 guys in double figures. 4. Usually it's 5 with Mike Conley, but he had 4 guys in double figures. O'Neal had 9, Morgan 5, Zhang 7, Emmanuel Mudiay 5, Bradley 3. They need their role players to step up. They need them to step up if they want to have a chance, right? You look at Denver. Denver also needs their role players to step up. I mean, they had no help outside their big 3. And I'm calling them the big 3 because they're the best 3 players on this team. I knew what Michael Porter Jr. was, but now he's proven it. He's proven enough to say he's the 3rd best player on the team right now. He had 28 points, 10 for 17 from the field, 6 for 9 from the three-point line. He came out ready to ball. I mean, you look at the Nuggets. Their big 3 played well. Like I said, Porter, 28. Jokic, 28, 11, and 6. He played good. Murray only had 14, but he shot the ball well. 6 for 13 from the field, 1 for 2 from the three-point line. He wasn't that aggressive in the 30 minutes he played. But outside of him, they had no help. Millsap only contributed 5 points in 18 minutes. Craig, 0 points, 27 minutes. Grant, usually a guy that's been averaging about 15 points so far in his bubble, he only gave you 8. Morris gave you 10. Dozier gave you 5. But other than that, the scoring was spotty. It was spotty. They have to step it up and be consistent if they want to be taken serious as a legitimate contender to win the championship, because I think they have the talent. They had the talent, but the consistency is the question. Their top 3 guys, Michael Porter Jr., Jokic, and Murray, combined for 70 points out of the 105 that the Denver Nuggets scored. These role players have to step it up. Like Grant, It's the only bad game I've seen him play. 2 for 7 from the three-point line, 3 for 8 from the field. He's usually been consistent. Craig, you're starting. 0 for 2, 0 for 1. You gotta do something, man. You gotta do something. Your plus minus was minus 16. If you're gonna be the defender in that starting lineup, you have to defend. Donovan Mitchell can't go off for 30. Clarkson can't go off for 26. If you're not gonna score the ball, you have to be good on the defensive end. I heard from a great basketball mind that 2-way players win basketball games in the playoffs. You can't just be a defender. You can't just be a scorer. You have to do both. You have to do both. And for the Nuggets, they have scorers, but who's going to step up, and be that defender that can help score, They're missing Gary Harris right now, Will Barton. They're missing them guys. Somebody has to step up. And they have to be consistent. Craig is going to have to be that guy. That 3-and-D guy in that lineup, Paul Millsap, I love Paul Millsap. He's coming down to the end of his career. So Grant is in there. Grant has to be more consistent. Because I think the Nuggets are a hell of a team. But their role players have to step up. Next, you had the Raptors against the Nets. The Raptors won 104-99. Led by Fran VanVleet, 24 points, 10 assists. Powell, 24 points. Lowry, 21 points. Siakam, 19. You look at the Nets. Yes, the Nets are without 8 main rotator guys, The Nets are playing without their best players, and they're still competing. LeVert had 16. Temple had 21. Jared Allen had 14 and 15. Timmy Luwalu had 17. Harris had 14 and 14. They're competing. That's all you can ask for, Nobody has them winning, but as long as they compete, and these role players that are going to play big minutes when the stars come back, as long as they're competing, it's high hopes for the Nets. But when you look at the Raptors, my thing with the Raptors, I know they're going to defend. But will they be able to score on a consistent basis? They were 9 for 35 from the three-point line. 9 for 35 from the three-point line. That will not cut it when you go against a Milwaukee Bucks team, when you go against a Boston Celtics team. Your defense, yes, is there, but your offense has to be able to score at a high level, right? I know they're doing well without Kawhi, but you know what Kawhi gave you? A guy that can go out and get his own shot at a consistent basis, wherever on the court, whenever, against whoever. Can Kyle Lowry do that on a consistent basis? Can Fran VanVleet do that on a consistent basis? Siakam, hell of a year, but can he do that on a consistent basis? That is the big question mark for them. They need somebody that can score the ball on a consistent basis. Yes, guys had very good games. Fran VanVleet had a very good game. Lowry had a good game. Powell off the bench, who can honestly start on a lot of teams, very good game. But can they be consistent? Because 104 points might not be enough to beat the Celtics, enough to beat the Bucks, enough to beat the Heat, the Pacers, the Sixers, or the other guys that are contending teams. That's my only question mark with the Raptors. Other than that, man, they're playing wonderful. Then a 6:30 game, the Celtics destroyed my Sixers. Let me take a deep breath, man. It sucks because only 3 guys beat us. Brown had 20. Tatum had 33. Walker had 22. Smart had 10. Wasn't really beating us like that. Kanter had 10. Grant Williams had 9. Other than that, nobody was really scoring. It was 3 guys beating us. And I've seen a lot of their points coming off of Theis, their starting center. Daniel Theis. He had 2 points and 3 rebounds in 12 minutes. But you know what he did? He set some of the best screens because he was setting screens and the guy guarding the ball couldn't get away from him. Joel Embiid went to step up and them guys was letting it fly. They was letting it fly. Tatum was 8 for 12 from the three-point line. 8 for 12. 8 for 12. He let it go. They were 19 for 43 from the three-point line as a team. Straight destroyed us. You look at the Sixers. Embiid did this thing, 34 and 10. Got to the line 13 times. Where's the help? Oh, Josh Richardson. Playing wonderful. This is the Josh Richardson I was expecting to play like this all season. I'm glad he's playing like this now, though, because he's giving me hope for next year. He has 18. Shake Milton, isn't quite there yet to start, but he's playing really good. 14 points, 4 assists. I expect more, but at the end of the day, you're not going to be the starting point guard on this team down in the future. But if you can show me that you can contribute, that's cool. Because where they're playing right now, man, the way they're playing right now is just sad. Because let me tell you something. Tobias Harris, Al Horford, together, together, both your contracts are combined $289 freaking million. Tobias Harris, game 1, 13 points, 4 for 15. Game 2, 15 points, 6 for 15. Al Horford, game 1, 4 points, 2 for 3. Game 2, 6 points, 3 for 7. What are y'all doing on the basketball court? Like, what's up, Tobias Harris? What's up? No, scratch that. I'm sorry. Game 2, 13 points, 4 for 14. What's up? I might have said those wrong. It was game 1 where Al Horford had 6. Game 2, he had 4. Tobias, game 2, he had 13. Game 1, he had 15. But my point being is that y'all are not contributing to the team's success. Tobias Harris, you got paid a max contract, and you didn't even deserve it. You did not. Al Horford, you got paid $109 million. You did not deserve it. Like, you didn't. I don't know what the Sixers front office was thinking. Those 2 moves alone could jeopardize the team because, man, they're not playing consistent. Those guys getting paid a third, a fourth of what Tobias Harris is getting paid and producing way more than him on more of a consistent basis. Tobias Harris, you got paid a max deal. You have to play like a max player. When Ben Simmons is not out, you got to be that guy on the wing that can score the ball. Dude, you're getting max money. Play like a max player. You're playing like garbage right now. Al Horford, you're playing like garbage right now. Horford, you got to get out of here after this season, bro. Retire, quit, do something. You do not want to be in a Sixers uniform next year, and we don't want you to be in a Sixers uniform next year. I'm trying not to blame you as much. I'm trying to blame the coaching staff for putting you in bad positions. But at the end of the day, man, when you get on the court, you got to contribute, and you're not contributing, Al Horford. You're not. You're not contributing at all. You came off the bench, minus 11. You only had 4 points in 23 minutes. What are you doing? What are you doing? Tobias Harris, you played 35 minutes and could only score 13 points. Minus 21. I mean, when you're getting paid max dollars, when you're supposed to be the best scorer at the wing for us, you would think you would perform like that, but you're underperforming. Shake is actually playing better than you. And I was not a hater, but a big criticizer on Shake because I didn't think he was ready. But he's playing better than the max guy. So what do I know? That's what I ask myself. What do I know? As a team, the Philadelphia 76ers shot 5 for 21 from the three-point line. 5 for 21. What is going on? Tobias Harris only shot 2 threes. You're playing like trash this whole playoffs. You're playing like trash. Burks had an unusual bad game. I'm not mad at him because he's been consistent ever since he got to the Sixers. He's not the max guy that we expect to have 20 plus points a night. That's Tobias Harris. I mean, granted, he's not off the hook. Burks 1 for 8. I know you had a bad game. Matter of fact, you go off Takai mad because you've been consistent. But you look at a guy like Korkmaz. You're the best shooter on the team and you're 0 for 3. Why are you on the team? You're not going to contribute on offense, which is the only thing you can contribute in. You're not contributing on defense. Like, y'all understand what I'm saying now? And it's crazy. Neto. I'm not even going to get into Neto, man. Neto, you get a pass from me today. And everybody knows how I get on Neto. But Neto, you get a pass because it's not on you no more. It's the coaching staff. It's the front office. They put together a lousy team. A lousy team. I don't see no fire in no guys. We don't got no dog on our team. Every team needs a dog, man. Every team needs a dog. Boston, Marcus Smart, dog. You look at the Bucks. Their best player, Giannis, is a dog. Joel Embiid can be a dog, but I mean, he can't do it by himself. You got guys that's getting paid over $100 million that's performing like garbage. Please, when the season is over, make some phone calls. Get rid of some guys. But whatever you do not get rid of Al Horford or Ben Simmons. Do not do that. Get a new head coach. Get rid of Al Horford. Because, man, we got a championship level roster, but the coach doesn't know how to use it. This is terrible, man. had no bench scoring this game. We just was out there lackadaisical, like, oh, we don't got Ben Simmons. We don't got no shot at winning anyway. Like, who plays like that? Who plays like that? Y'all leaving Embiid out there to try, man. Embiid, please don't leave the Sixers organizations because the fans love you and we understand. That is not your fault. It's the coaching staff. We understand Embiid. So if you want to be mad, cuss up Brent Brown, we fully support that. We do. I feel bad for you, Embiid. Now, last game on Wednesday. The Mavericks versus the Clippers. The Mavs should be up 2-0 right now. The Mavs should be up 2-0. Because if it wasn't for Kristaps getting ejected, they would have won game 1. And what did they do? Come back healthy, and they win game 2. They led the entire game. 127 and 114 was the final score. Luka had 28, 8, and 7 with foul trouble. And yes, 1 turnover. Kristaps Porzingis, 23 points, 7 rebounds, 7 for 13 from the field, 6 for 8 from the free throw line, 3 for 4 from the three-point line. Tim Hardaway gave you 17. Off the bench, Burks gave you 16. Seth Curry gave you 15. And Boban gave you 13. 13 and 9. Very good stuff by the Mavericks. You look at the Clippers. Kawhi did his thing. 40 minutes, 35 points, 10 rebounds. 10 rebounds. I mean, got to the line 14 times. Kawhi Leonard is a winner. Marcus Morris gave you 14 points. That's good for him. Zubac, 3 points. Zubac is just Zubac, man. That's all I got to say about him. Reggie Jackson starting because of injured Pat Bev. He gave you 11. Lou Will gave you 23, 4, and 7. My guy, Lou. Montrezl Harrell gave you 10. But then other than that, it was bad news. You know? And speaking of the guy that everybody was loving game 1, let's talk about him. Paul George. Is this a case of playoff P? Paul George had 14 points, 10 rebounds, 4 for 17 from the field, 2 for 10 from the three-point line. Now, he had one good game in game 1. Terrible game in game 2. He needs to bounce back in game 3. It's a must. He has no choice but to bounce back. I mean, dude hasn't been good in the playoffs for years. He has not been consistent in the playoffs for years. It's not only important for this Clippers team, but it's important to him to have a big game. Because if he's inconsistent like this, it's going to be hard for this team to get out the first round, let alone get out the second or even get to the Western Conference Finals. Like, Paul George has to play consistent for this team to win. You know, second best defender, second best scorer on offense. Like, Paul George, what's going on? Your game is great, man. I love your game, but you're just not consistent for a quote-unquote superstar that people label you. That's all I'm going to say. You look at the Mavs, man. The Mavs. This is why I said they would go 2-0. This is why I said they should be 2-0. Kristaps didn't get ejected. 36 minutes, 23 points. Dude was efficient. He was efficient. You look at the bench for the Mavericks. 44 points off their bench from their best 3 bench guys. Boban, their big, coming off the bench. Seth Curry, their scorer, coming off the bench. Their shooter coming off the bench. And Trey Burke, their backup point guard, coming off the bench. If they can provide up to 40 points off the bench, and if Tim Hardaway can give them 15, because Tim Hardaway is capable, he has the game. If he can be a consistent scorer, right? If those 4 guys amongst them can give them 55 to 60 points a night, man, it's going to be hard to stop this team. It's going to be hard to stop this team. Because when Luka's not on the court, when KP's not on the court, they need consistent scoring, right? They play hard on defense. Finley Smith is their best defender. You know, they have Michael Kleber. I hope I didn't mess his name up. He guards Kawhi. You know, he tries his best. He does his best. He gives effort. That's all you can ask for as a head coach. They don't have a defender. They play defense as a team. Well, yes, sometimes. But they don't have a lockup guy like a lot of teams do. So if that's the case, they got to score points at a high level. And what do? They score points on a high level. In this series, so far in these 2 games. You take out that one quarter that Kristaps Porzingis got ejected, they're averaging about 32 points per quarter. They can keep scoring the ball like this, and make it hard for the Clippers team on the other end. They can get out this first round. They can be the 7 seed that beats the 2 seed. Because they have the talent. It's just how they're going to be disciplined enough. Will their role players be able to hit their shots and score? And will KP be able to be consistent? And Luka be able to be consistent? Which they both have been in this bubble. But they got to be on the court to be consistent. Luka was in foul trouble. They got lucky because Luka has to be on the court for them to win. Luka is an amazing talent. KP has to be on the court for them to win. It's going to be hard for one of them to do it by themselves. But this is a good series. It's tied 1-1. Very good series. Very good series. If you are wondering how to create a podcast like the one you're listening to now, I'm about to explain to you the best way to do so. And that is using a platform called Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to start a podcast. And I'm going to explain to you why. First and foremost, it's free. Secondly, there's creation tools that will allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will also distribute your podcast so it can be heard on different platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from the podcast with no minimum learnership. It's everything you need to create a podcast all in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. So those were the Game 2 games on Wednesday. Now let's look at the ones on Thursday. Bucks versus the Magic. It was important for the Bucks to come out and sustain their dominance to show why they are, by record, the best team in the league. And they did that. They more than did that on Thursday. Giannis had a great game. 28 points, 20 rebounds. But then you look at his shooting percentages. They're making it tough on him now. That's what you got to do. 10 for 23 from the field. 1 for 5 from the three-point line. Brook Lopez gave you 20. Bledsoe gave you 13 and 7. Off the bench, Connaughton gave you 15 and 11 rebounds. Off the bench, DiVincenzo gave you 11. Off the bench, Kyle Korver gave you 9. You look at Orlando. Vucevic, dominant. 32 points, 10 rebounds. Ennis gave you 8. Fultz gave you 11. Fournier gave you 12. Augustine gave you 10. Ross gave you 12. The thing with this Bucks team, though, they're missing a lot of guys right now. Aaron Gordon, a guy that was giving you 15-plus points a night. Isaac. Man, Jonathan Isaac, he's going to make it even harder on Giannis. Yes, Giannis is shooting 10 for 23, but he's still scoring, still getting rebounds. Isaac is a guy that's built like Giannis, may not be as strong as Giannis yet, but the same frame. Never thought a guy like him, Michael Carter Williams. They're still missing some guys now. So, they shocked in game 1. Then game 2, they just didn't have it. Now, like I said, with this team, they play basketball the right way. They don't turn the ball over. They only had 11 turnovers. They don't foul. They only had 18 personal fouls. But scoring is a big question mark. Vucevic had 32. Nobody else had over 15. Over 13, to be exact. You look at the three-pointers. Only 7 for 33 from the three-point line. Bucks doubled that. You look at the free throws. They won 27-12. But then you look at the field goals. It was 31-42. This Orlando team, man, they just don't have all the talent as Milwaukee. But they're going to fight. And they're going to keep fighting. And they're going to make it hard. And one thing I'm noticing right now with this Bucks team, hopefully it doesn't stay like this. But if they're going to want to win long term, Middleton has to step up. He's been playing like trash the first 2 games. And it only got worse. Game 2. The 30 minutes he played, he only scored 2 points. 1 for 8 from the field. 0 for 4 from the three-point line. If they want to have a chance to make it out the second round, he has to play better. I know he's been getting a lot of flack from a lot of guys saying he's not really a 1B type of guy, But But he was a guy that was scoring. He was an all-star. Guy scoring 20 points. Close to that 40-90 club. Shooting 50% from the field, 40 from the three-point line, 90 from the free throw line. He has to be more consistent. They won't even have a chance to get out the second round. He has to be more consistent. Has to be more consistent. He was all-star. Got to live up to that all-star name. Then you had the Heat versus the Pacers. The Heat won 109-100. Man, I love this Miami Heat team, man. There's no egos. No egos. Everybody just wants to win and does what they have to do to win. They have a new leading scorer. It feels like every game they have a new leading scorer. This game, Duncan Robinson went off. 24 points, 7 for 8 from the field, 7 for 8 from the three-point line. You know, he's the type of guy that most of his shots, and when I mean most, I mean over 70% of his shots come from the three-point line, and he knocks them down. He had 24. Dragic gave you 20 and 6, a veteran. A dude that knows how to get to his spots, and he just plays winning basketball. Off the bench, Hero gave you 15. Off the bench, Olynyk gave you 7. Off the bench, Iguodala gave you 7. You know, Bam didn't have his best night, 7, 5, and 4, but he still contributed. Crowder had 10. Jimmy Butler had 18, 7, and 6 with 2 steals. This Heat team, man, no egos. No egos, and they defend. And they shoot the three-pointer very, very well. Over 50% they shot 18 from this game, 18 for 35. So it's like they defend, they shoot with no egos. But their thing is, you know, Kenny Smith pointed to this. Who's going to be the guy that takes the end of the game shots? You know, with most teams, you know who it is. But this team, it could be a question mark. I still do, you know, well, I don't even want to say that. I don't even want to say what I was going to say. I was going to say Jimmy could do it. Jimmy has that clutch gene. But honestly, it could be anybody. It could be anybody. And that's a good thing. But also could be a bad thing. But I don't think it could be a bad thing. Because they still got guys who can create their own shot whenever they need to. Dragic been doing it for years. Butler been doing it for years. Hero, rookie. A guy that's proven that he's not scared of anything, of anyone, in any moment. He feels like he can get his own shot. So they got guys that can get their own shot now. But can they do it at a consistent basis? That's the only question. Other than that, though, Heat is a really good team. You look at this Pacers teams, man. What is TJ Warren doing? 14 points, 7 for 15 from the field, 0 for 5 from the three-point line. You know. You win off the entire bubble, and then you wait till Jimmy Butler's in your face to completely fold. That's a problem. That's a guy that wasn't overhyped, but he's met his match, if I could say that best. I don't want to say overhyped. He played, you know, how he played in the bubble, he's not going to do that next season. He just got hot. Players get hot. Players throughout the season get hot. And that was just the 8-game stretch where he got hot. But now, you know, reality has checked in, and it's not going well for him. It's not. Oladipo, 22 points, but he shot 5 for 14 from the field and 4 for 11 from the three-point line. Now, I know he's been battling with injuries, but if they want a chance, man, Oladipo has to play consistent. Brogdon gave him 17, 5, and 9, but he shot 4 for 14 from the field, 2 for 6 from the three-point line. Miles Turner, a guy that hates the paint, well, he shot 3 for 3 from the three-point line, 0 free throw attempts, 7 for 8 from the field. You know, can't get mad, but also you just wonder, like, why won't he step into the paint? He honestly in the East could be close to fighting for an all-star if he stepped into the paint. He'd be close for an all-star, but he doesn't want to step into the paint, so he's not playing his best. He wants to be out there shooting jump shots. You know, I'm not him, but you are 6'11", over 240 pounds. Get in the paint and bang. It's going to help give this Indiana Pacers team a fighting chance. But right now, how it's looking, they probably are going to get swept, but all games are going to be close. But how it's looking like the Pacers team is going to get swept. Then you had the Thunder versus the Rockets. I need to apologize to all Rockets fans for keep thinking that the Thunder can do something, man. Their offense is so stagnant. It's worrying me. Their offense is super stagnant. They're playing one-on-one, but they have no shooters on their team. They're playing one-on-one basketball. Why it works for the Rockets? Because literally, they can play one-on-one. James Harden can do one-on-one, break down his defender. He's throwing it out to all shooters. And if you help, he's throwing it out. If you don't help, it's an easy layup. You look at this Thunder team. Outside of their 3 guards and Danilo Gallinari, who can really shoot. But even with them, are they really knockdown shooters? Are they really knockdown shooters? No. They're not. As a team, they shot 11 for 32 from the three-point line. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander went crazy, 31 points. Gallinari had a good performance, 17. Paul had 14 off the bench. Schroeder had 13. Other than that, you're not getting scoring. Adams had 8 and 11, but Adams isn't a scorer. So those are the type games, Adams is going to have. You don't want to force it to him in the paint with him being in the post. That isn't his game. That isn't his game. Dort, their defender, he had 8 points. 3 for 10 from the field. 2 for 8 from the three-point line. They leave him open because he hasn't, his three-point shot just isn't there. Like I said, two-way players winning the playoffs. He has a defensive end. He made it tough for James Harden. James Harden had 21 points. 5 for 16 from the field. 2 for 11 from the three-point line. He made it tough on James Harden now. But he couldn't score on the other end, so he was a liability. That's what it is with this Thunder team, man. There's no spacing. Not enough scoring. Defense need to get better, man. Because, James Harden didn't even beat you this game. Daniel House did with 19 points. PJ Tucker did with 14 points. Austin Rivers did with 11. Green did it with 15. Like I said, James Harden shot 5 for 16. Eric Gordon shot 6 for 20. They let all the role players go off. I don't even want to say go off. They just scored the ball better than them because they shot 56 threes and only hit 19. But when you live or die by the three-point line, even if Harden doesn't have a great game, even Gordon doesn't have a great game, you're going to score points. 56 three-pointers. 56 three-pointers to the Thunder's 32. Well, the Rockets have an interesting way of playing basketball. And since they won game 2, man, Russ can't even get more time to get right, to get healthy. Because if the series was 1-1, it would be more pressure on him. Like, okay, it's tied up. We might need you to come back a little bit faster. But now that they're up 2-0, they have a little bit of a cushion. And the way they're playing right now, it's just hard to see the Thunder winning because of their style of play compared to the Rockets' style of play. It's just very hard seeing them winning. It's a lot of coaching adjustments that has to be made in order for them to have a chance, but it's not the way the Thunder play basketball. It's not. So, you wonder if Billy Donovan's going to make some adjustments or he's just going to stick it out how they've been playing all year. But either way, it's a big salute to the Thunder team because nobody, including me, I don't even think I had them in the playoffs. I didn't think they were going to be trash or nothing. It was just so many talented teams in the West. I didn't know that they can fight their way through it. Not no disrespect because I love Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So much respect for Chris Paul. Knew Danilo Gallinari has been a baller since he's been in the league. Respect for Dennis Schroeder. Nerlens Noel, always going to have respect for him, former Sixer. So it's just like they want to change up some things if they want to win. Now the last game, game 2, you had the Blazers versus the Lakers. Man, this game is a make or miss league. And the Lakers finally made some shots. They played great in game 1, if you want to be honest with you. Great defense. Great defense. They just did not hit shots. They were 5 for 32 from the three-point line. People were making so much of a big deal. But it's like, nobody's going to shoot that bad every single game. Y'all should have known this was going to happen. I hope people aren't going to be surprised. Like the Blazers. Man, the Blazers have been playing. Like it was game 7 ever since they got into the bubble. They were bound to have an off game. Bound to. They've been playing at a high level longer than anybody. They were bound to have a bad game. So I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that their bad game was the game Lakers was going to go off. I'm not surprised. I'm not I'm not surprised at all. Like, Lakers are a great team, man. They're going to find their way. They're going to find their way. It was a very good game. Very good game. Lakers won 111 and 88. LeBron had 10, 6, and 7. 2 steals. I'm going to get into that later. AD had 31 and 11. Caldwell Pope had 16. 4 for 6 on the three-point line. JaVale McGee gave you 10. Kuzma gave you 7. JR gave you 11. Finally playing. Dion Waiters, he gave you 4. Finally getting some burn. Now with Anthony Davis, it's not that I'm not impressed. No, I'm just going to flat out say it. I'm not impressed. And this is why I'm not impressed. He's been doing this the entire bubble. Having a good game, playing bad. Having a good game, playing bad. Can you do this on a nightly basis, Anthony Davis? Can you? Because that's the question that not only am I asking, but America's asking, but the coaching staff is asking, but is LeBron asking. Can you play like this at all times? Like, dude, you've been inconsistent this entire bubble. Great game and bad game. You have superstar abilities, but you have to be consistent like a superstar. If he plays great in the playoffs, man, nobody's going to be able to stop him. Nobody. Nobody's going to be able to stop him. Dude went off. 13 for 21 from the field. 3 for 4 from the three-point line. Don't fall in love with the three. Remember what makes you great. You can score in the paint. You also create your own shot. So it's like Anthony Davis. You know, the Lakers, if they win, it's on you. If they lose, it's not on you. But 9 times out of 10, when they lose, you have bad games. And the thing with LeBron, man, you know, played 26 minutes, 10, 6, and 7. You would think if he played 10 more minutes like he usually does, his stats would have been way better. So don't buy into it. Don't buy into it. The game's only just getting started. Don't buy into it. LeBron is fine. You've seen what he did last game. LeBron's going to be playoff LeBron. Now, can Anthony Davis be consistent and be dominant, be the top 5 guy that people think he is, that I think he is in this league? Because once he do that, it's a wrap. Now, also for the Lakers, can their shooters be consistent? Like I said, Caldwell Pope had a very good game. 4 for 6 on the three-point line. But Danny Green has been playing like trash. I'm going to flat out say he's been playing like trash. That's why I've been saying, why did J.R. Smith not get in last game? You know, Danny Green, yes, is a very good defender. But J.R. Smith, Danny Green's not hitting. J.R. Smith can hit. And J.R. Smith, you know, he's not a scrub on defense. He's been in the finals. He had to guard Curry. He had to guard Clay. It was times he had to guard KD. He's not a scrub on defense. I'm not saying he's first team, second team on defense, but he's going to hold his own. If Danny Green isn't hitting when LeBron is penetrating, Danny Green isn't hitting when Anthony Davis is get a double team in the post, you got to take him off the court, man. You got to put JR in there. You got to. Will the shooters be consistent? That is the key thing for this Lakers team. Kuzma, you got to be consistent. I know you're more than a shooter, but you got to be a guy that's getting them 15 on a regular basis. Caldwell Pope, can you play like this for the entire playoffs? Because you have the capability to do that. You're a two-way player. You have the capability to score 16 points, 4 for 6 on the three-point line. You have that capability. Can you be consistent? That's the big thing for the Lakers, right? J.R. Smith got some burn. Waiters got some burn. Cook got some burn. Will Frank Vogel adjust his rotation? That's my thing. You know, Caruso is a very good defender, but he's not as talented as Dion Waiters on offense, as Quinn Cook on offense, as J.R. Smith on offense. 3 guys on his team that I feel like can make a huge difference if they play. J.R. Smith, he has experience. He should be getting playing time in his playoffs. Dion Waiters is a guy that can create his own offense, which at sometimes the Lakers need. I seen them put a lineup out there that had no LeBron, that had no AD. They had no guy that can get his own bucket. That's why you got Dion Waiters. Let him do that, Frank Vogel. Let him be the guy off the bench that can create his own shot. Same thing with Quinn Cook. He can initiate the offense. He can shoot. He can score. Let him get some burn. You know, if these guys aren't performing on the offensive end, you got guys that are talented on the offensive end that's just waiting, scratching and calling to get in the game. Because once they get in the game, they know they're going to prove themselves. Now, J.R. Smith shot 3 for 9 from the three-point line today. Well, he needs to get his rhythm, so he should be playing more. Talking about a guy that hasn't played in over a year, and he's still shooting better than Danny Green. Get J.R. Smith in the game. Get him in the game. Now, Game 2 is over. Game 3 starts today, Friday. You got the Toronto Raptors versus the Nets. Taking the Raptors. You got the Nuggets versus Jazz. Taking the Nuggets. You got the Boston Celtics versus Sixers. I give up on this series. I don't care who wins this game. I just want the Sixers to get rid of Brent Brown. That's all. You got the Clippers against the Mavs. I'm taking the Mavs. On Saturday, Game 3, you got the Bucks and the Magic. I'm taking the Bucks. 3:30, you got the Heat and the Pacers. I'm taking the Heat. 6 o'clock, you got the Rockets and the Thunder. I'm taking the Rockets, man. I lost all hope with the Thunder. Then at 8:30, you got the Lakers and the Blazers. I have the Lakers. I do. Sunday, I'm just going to get into this. Game 4 starts. At 1 o'clock, you got the Boston Celtics versus Sixers. I give up, like I said. 3:30, you got the Clippers and the Mavs. I'm taking the Mavs. 6:30, you got the Raptors and the Nets. I'm taking the Raptors. 9 o'clock, you got the Nuggets and the Jazz. I'm taking the Nuggets. I will be putting out an episode this weekend. You know, going more in depth on Sunday. Going more in depth in Game 4. But you know, I just want to let you know the schedule. So 1 o'clock on Sunday is the Celtics and the Sixers. 3:30 is the Clippers and the Mavs. 6:30 is the Raptors and the Nets. 9 o'clock is the Nuggets and the Jazz. Different schedule than what we have been accustomed to. Different schedule. But in all, it's basketball. I'm ready to see very good games. And so far, I've been seeing very good games. Every game I watched. Even the Bucks and Magic. You know, Bucks weren't blowing them out all the time. Magic were fighting back. You got the Nets and the Raptors. Yes, the Raptors might sweep them, but the Nets are fighting. They are fighting. You look at the West, every single playoff series is a fight. You don't know which team is going to win what. You don't know. The Clippers could lose to the Mavs. The Lakers could lose to the Blazers. There's no home court advantage. That's why you got to love bubble playoff basketball. You got to love it. You got to love it, because I do, man. It's good basketball every day. That's a wrap for this episode. Man, the playoffs have been great so far. I had some predictions be right. Some be thrown in my face, you know, like the Sixers. My team, they're playing terrible. Don't want to get into that even more than I did. You know, like the Thunder. They lost both games I picked them in. Don't know what to say, man. As long as we're getting good basketball, I really can't complain that much. But yeah, I've been loving what I've been seeing. I hope you guys do too. You can let me know your thoughts on the game so far. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at sportsw_Chris. sportsw_Chris. Thank you all for listening and stay tuned for future episodes.